I'm looking forward to a trophy presentation of the CAF trophy here in Enugu by next year this time, But to get there, it's good to have your sights on the goal, but then you have to think of how do we get there. How do we get there means that we must double or in fact quadruple our effort in terms of training, in terms of organization, in terms of team management. Think about it. You talked about the North African countries. If a game is played in December at night in Algeria, it's quite cold. So a team leaves Enugu, temperature around is 26 degrees. They get to a place like Algiers, and the temperature is 14 or 16 at night. You can see the difference. That is enough to destabilize the team. If a game is going to be played in a high altitude country like Ethiopia, the oxygen in the air in Ethiopia when you're running around is a bit lower than the amount of oxygen in the same air in Nigeria when you're running around. So if you're running and you've not trained in that environment, you'll be more breathless. If you could have run for 45 minutes without a problem, you see yourself gasping at 20 minutes. And that's simple science. So that means that team needs to have trained in a high altitude region and prepared for that match so that before they get to that particular contest. So those things mean, first of all, as soon as the fixtures are announced, we then know where the venues are. And study the venues, study the temperature, study the time, and then think of our team, not just their capacity to play well, beautiful football in Nigeria, but how do they survive in that place? If they go to a place like a country where the food is not quite similar to Nigeria, it could give them running stomach. That can also happen. So you get a bunch of players, but they're all suffering from diarrhea. So what do you do? Do you think, you have to then strategize and say, can we find a Nigerian caterer in that location to make sure that when they arrive, they can eat something familiar? This is not a question of, I want to eat fancy food in Senegal or Cote d'Ivoire. I want to make sure I give them what they're used to eating, that is quite nutritious, so that their system does not disorganize them internally. These are some of the sciences that go into football. And on top of that, obviously, transporting them. If you're going to go to a high altitude place for training before the match, that's actually more money to spend before than just arriving to play the game, like we do if we're going from here to Ibadan. We can just arrive 2 days before, settle down, play the game, and come back. So those are some of the issues we face. But I do think that we're equal to the task. I'm very impressed by our general manager, Amobi. I've met some of the MPFL officials. I met them in Jos during the trophy giving ceremony, and they too are committed because Rangers winning is Nigeria winning, so they are going to give us the full support of the MPFL to make sure we meet the standards as required. But I'm also calling on well-meaning Nigerians, particularly those from the southeast, who recognize that Rangers is helpful to the region and to the youth of our region to come in and be co-sponsors along with AfriInvest. Because we need more money to prosecute this current ambition. Yes, we have a jersey sponsorship, but there are still other parts of the jersey that's available for sale. There's at least one sleeve, there's the back. There are other things we can do. You can be the sponsor of our travel. For example, we talked earlier about United Nigeria. My friend Okonkwo, or Alan Onyema of Airpeace. Those are areas of sponsorship. AfriInvest is an investment management firm. A bank like Fidelity could also be the banker to Rangers, official banker to Rangers, because we're not a commercial bank, and they can be a sponsor in that space. Somebody that makes even detergent can say we are the official detergent for washing the jerseys. There are many ways you can layer in sponsorships, and that will help us get to that goal. But we have our eyes firmly on bringing that massive trophy back to Enugu, back to Nigeria, to the pride of our nation.